Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs, and this is part 2 of a bit of a series. Today I'm doing top 5 right backs in the league, so let's get straight into it. Now at number 5 in the list I've gone for Andy Lyons, Bohemians. I think on this list he's arguably got more potential than anybody else, but he's still relatively raw at this minute in time. That said, he's still a very, very good player. I think last season he played 14 times for Bohemians. Obviously Bohemians had Derek Pender at the club, and he was the real leader for Bohemians, so he had to play most games. Pender retired obviously this season, and I think one of the reasons why he felt satisfied to retire now was that Andy Lyons was coming through. Lyons is only 19, he is slight and small, so he kind of looks like a 19-year-old, you know what I mean? He actually looks younger, to be fair, but he's very dynamic. As I said, only 14 appearances last season, a couple this season, but enough to garner interest from Crystal Palace in the Premier League, and they were seriously interested in Andy. I'm not sure if they brought him over or not. They may have, but Bohemians wanted a certain fee and Palace weren't willing to pay it. Fair play to Bohemians for actually not looking to be robbed, essentially, because a lot of clubs think they can just come in and get Irish players for nothing. So it was great to see that. You know, he was part of an Irish under-21 squad. He's played for the Irish under-19s. He joined Bohemians in 2016 from Bray Wanderers, actually. So he's come up through the under-17s, etc., etc., and now he's in the first team squad, and I would say he'll be the first choice right back. It's one of those that by the end of the season, you might be saying that Andy Lyons is higher up on this list. So that's something I'm going to do at the end of the season as well. Hopefully, you know what I mean, the season goes ahead, etc., etc., etc. But if we have an end of season, is to come back to these lists and do it again and see what has changed over the course of the season. So for me, Andy Lyons sneaks in at number 5. Number 4, I've gone for Rory Feely of St Patrick's Athletic. Now, Rory is the brother of Kildare county footballer Kevin Feely. Rory Feely 6'3". I think Kevin must be about 8'5", to be honest. He's a huge lad. But Rory is a player that you would think should be playing centre-back because of his height. Has done, can do. But he's so good on the ball, and he's a good crosser of the ball, and his balance is very, very good for a guy that's 6'3". Also, when you have centre-backs and defending set pieces playing right back, he becomes another centre-back. So he's got that in his locker as well. He was at Pats, actually, originally. That was the first Irish League club he was at, League of Ireland club he was at, I should say. But he moved away to Waterford for a couple of seasons and did very well for Waterford. Last season he made 32 appearances, scoring 2 goals. And the 2 seasons at Waterford he's really developed as a player. A lot of that has to be down to Alan Reynolds as well, who's a very good manager at Waterford, and he's developed him. So he's come back to Pats. This season he did get sent off against Shelbourne. 2 bookable offences, but he's been quite good in the games he has played this season. I think more so over the last number of seasons, he's developed as one of the better right backs in the league. Can score a goal, as I say, can get forward, offers you that height as well. So he's a very, very good player. He's got excellent balance for a man his height, to be fair. He has played once for the Irish under-21s back in 2017 as well. And he has that GA background as well. You know, that height would help him if he was playing a bit of Gaelic football. I'm sure he probably could still play Gaelic football at a high level. But Rory Feely for me is number 4 on the list, with potential to probably get higher by the end of the season. Number 3 is a player that was a Stoke City up to last season, Lewis Banks, now at Sligo Rovers. He had an excellent debut season last season. Player of the year at Sligo Rovers from a right back position, only 22 as well. And he was struggling a bit. He was on loan at Stafford Rangers and struggling for a bit of identity, I suppose. A lot of young players get that in England, particularly sometimes when you get over that teenage age and get into their 20s and not sure where they're going. But he's benefited from coming back to Sligo Rovers and the League of Ireland. And as I said, player of the year for Sligo last season, and probably would have gotten the team of the year only for a certain Sean Gannon is also a right back. So, as I say, he's only 22, 32 appearances for Sligo last season, 1 goal. you know, he can cover a number of positions as well. He's well capable of playing in midfield as well. And, you know, he got booked 10 times last season, which I thought was interesting because obviously he's a bit aggressive in the tackle there too. But I like to see that from a defender as well. So, you know, Lewis Banks, again, Sligo have been actually missing a couple of players this season, and mainly in the back line. And the back line's probably their best position, their best section, I suppose, in their squad even. And Lewis Banks, one of their best players. He's been a huge loss for Sligo at the start of this season. And excellent young right back. Number 3 in this list. Now, number 2 is probably one of the most high-profile players in this league, and that's Joey O'Brien. Joey had an interesting career at Bolton when they played in the Premier League as well. He was there, and at West Ham, where he really starred in the Premier League. He played 5 times for the Republic of Ireland and played over a dozen games for the under-21s as well. Big coup for Shamrock Rovers in the side in 2018, although he hadn't played for 18 months. I remember there was questions over it. But Shamrock Rovers is his boyhood club, so he would have been delighted to come back and play for Rovers. But he's been stellar since he's returned, to be fair. Bags of experience, and he's really brought that into the league. A cool head, an inspiration to those around him, and shown real leadership. And okay, he hasn't been able to maybe get up the pitch like he used to, but real steady Eddie at the back, keeps things tight, tough tackler, as I say, vocal, inspirational. And I think he's been very good since he's returned to Shamrock Rovers. Now, so far this season, he's picked up a couple of injuries. He picked up an injury against Bohemians and was substituted. And then I believe he picked up an injury against Cork when he played in that game and was substituted there too. So it was a tough start for him this season. And at the age of 34, it's obviously tougher. It's harder to recover when you pick up injuries. This break, obviously, means that you can recover, etc., etc. But real inspirational player, and they say he's very strong in the Shamrock Rovers dressing room. And I do believe he's the second best right back in the league at this minute in time. Coming in at number 1, I feel like Larry Gogan here, to be fair. Coming in at number 1 is Sean Gannon from Dundalk. You couldn't pick anyone else, let's be honest. He's the most accomplished right back in this league. Rarely makes mistakes, keeps things relatively simple, has a great engine, gets forward, gets crosses into the box, gets back and defends. He's only 28 now, actually. He's been around a while and he's only 28. He started at St. Patrick's Athletic in 2013, where he made 13 appearances. And Dundalk and Stephen Kenny signed him up. And he hasn't looked back. He's 5 league titles, 2 FAI Cups, 3 League Cups. He's been named in the PFAI Team of the Year 6 times, including last season. So he's still performing at that high level, and he's been doing it for years. He's one of their better players as well in the 2016-17 season when they were in the Europa League. And he just keeps performing season after season after season, keeps that hunger going. And over the course of the last 6-7 years in Dundalk, with Dundalk's success, I think he's been the most consistent player over the course of that time, since around 2014, to be fair. And he's been there for it all, really. He's been there for all of Dundalk's success as well. He's been a constant theme in their team. So he's a good player to watch. At times, I look at him and say, would you not have a go, in England or Scotland or something like that? He certainly has the ability. You see other players that go over and do well, the likes of your Kieran Sadlers and your Curtises and your McGraths at St Mirren now and Conor McCarthy and that. There's no doubt that Gannon could have played at a decent level in England and Scotland, but look, he's happy enough here. He's clearly in a good wage at Dundalk as well, and he's performing. He's kept those performances going year after year after year and keeps it going. And he's very impressive to watch, great to watch, and appears to be a model professional as well. So Sean Gannon, number 1. And I talked about how at the end of the season you'd be coming back to these lists. I'd be very surprised if it still wasn't saying that Gannon by the end of the season wasn't still number 1 in the league. So that's about it, guys. That's the top 5 right backs now in the League of Ireland done. Next will be left backs. So looking forward to doing that video as well. There's a lot of players actually that have impressed me so far this season that probably won't make this list, particularly if they're only new to the league. So it's very difficult to put someone in that's made 3 or 4 appearances in the league as one of the best in the league. They could well be by the end of the season. So that's the interesting thing I have in my head about that. But that's about it, guys. Like, subscribe if you're new here. Plenty of other videos up there, talking point videos, keeping up the content. You know, this series of the goalkeepers done, top 5 keepers. You'll have left backs coming, centre backs, etc, etc, etc. What do you think? Who's the top 5 right backs in the league in your opinion? Would you change the order? Is there anyone that you would say deserves to be in there? I know there's a couple of other players like Sam Bowen at Waterford who I really like, who could make this list by the end of the season, for example. So, yeah, that's a bit about it even, guys. So I'll see you later and take it easy. Good luck.